So South Africa is going to face Canada today in the World Cup's first knockout stage match in LA. But one of the biggest stories of this North American tournament is the cultural influx in American cities, particularly in Boston.
From Scots to Haitians, Boston has been a hotspot for memorable moments. We are joined now by Boston Globe's Emily Sweeney. Emily, great to have you back with us once again. I was in the greater Boston area last week. I was in Cambridge, and someone with whom I spoke said, the thing to get are these fan bands. They were talking about going down to the Common, to the Garden. These are like bracelets. You can get them that have kind of site-specific accoutrement. What's the flavor been like in Boston? The Scots have left, but this is still very much
talk to us about the accoutrement, Emily.
Obsessed city.
Well, I gotta say, Boston really misses the Scots. It's, you know what I mean? It's amazing to see there's still traffic cones on statues' heads that are appearing. The Tartan Army started that tradition, and I think that tradition with the traffic cones going on statues' heads is going to continue, at least from what I've seen.
That's Tartan and not Taunton, the city in Massachusetts. I just want to be very clear about that. I feel like I have to make that editorial note. Yes, okay, all right.
Don't let him give you shade. We've got, for our video viewers, we've got my favorite cone video, which I requested from our producer, is where the city of Boston seemed really down with this and let them use a cherry picker so that they could cone a statue that would have been otherwise out of reach. And this is like, I don't know, they do this in Scotland. It's a
Why is it happening? Why is it happening?
I don't know. Emily, do you know?
Well, there was estimated to be about 50,000 Scottish folks who visited Boston. And again, nobody was prepared for the traffic cone trick to be suddenly appearing on everybody from Bobby Orr right in front of the Boston Garden. I got a photo of that. Somebody put a cone on his head. He looked great, like diving after making his goal, wearing a cone. Looked better than ever. But yeah, no, the Scots really made an impact here. And, a lot of other people that local fans are cheering on. Haiti, Cape Verde, obviously making it to the knockout round is huge. People are going crazy about that.
I'm so excited.
I got to ask you, Emily, so you mentioned the Scots, okay? So Boston, you think St. Patrick's Day, that's a big drinking day, okay? But the Scots outdrank this. I mean, did you party with these guys or what?
They literally drank Boston out of beer.
Yeah. You couldn't walk out of the Globe newsroom. There were just kilts everywhere on the streets of Boston. Seriously, I've never seen so many kilts in my life. And everybody I spoke to from Scotland was just so friendly, so cool, so nice. And the bars, there were lines out the door. I was walking to work in the morning, and there literally were lines, to get into the bars, full of Scottish fans. But, everything was really cool because as much as they drink, it was very peaceful. No fighting or anything like that, just a lot of good fun, a lot of good vibes, and like I said, all the Scottish people I talked to were so cool and so nice.
A lot of good kilts as well. I understand your mayor is going to formalize this. Michelle Wu has formalized this kind of relationship between Bostonians and the Scots. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so there was an announcement made about being a sister city of sorts, like a formal partnership with the city of Glasgow. And I know personally my friends who are now planning trips to Scotland to visit, people that weren't even thinking about going on vacation there. So, it was really cool. I think, I witnessed history getting made, on the streets of Boston. I've never heard so much singing in my life on the streets of Boston. And now it's a little bit quieter now that the Scots have left.
You mentioned, I will say, they did go to Miami and try the traffic cone trick, and the Miami-Dade police were not into it. It was not allowed. You mentioned the Scots, you mentioned the Haitians, Cape Verde, but there's another fan headed your way. This is this viral Twitter star, Freddie. He's been tweeting his adventures in America. Everyone is following him, just a joyous trip through our nation. What does Boston have in store? What do you expect with the German fans coming to town?
Yeah, well, I wish I knew what Freddie looked like.
We have pictures now, and he's got a little smiley faces on his friends, and he puts different soccer players in front of his face. Yeah.
Yeah, last I saw, he was in Agunquit, which I got to say, hands down, is my favorite beach in New England. Yes. He picked a good one. But yeah, we're hoping Freddie comes down, and we're just hoping everybody has a good time. And that's what's been happening. I think Boston wasn't prepared for how much fun the World Cup has been. And, I think we're embracing it. So we're looking forward to it.
Emily, what do you think about Team USA? Do we have a chance? You seem to be the World Cup know-how. Tell us.
Yeah. Well, Cape Verde like has my heart, I gotta say. I don't want to sound like a traitor, but Team USA made it to the knockout round too. I mean, I'm looking forward to watching them on Wednesday. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens next. With the slate of teams that they're going to be facing. But making it to the knockout round in the World Cup is huge. So for Team USA and for like a small country like Cape Verde, oh my God! And with Cape Verde, it being their first time ever. So I get like two teams I'm going to be rooting for sure.
Very quickly here, we're complaining a lot about traffic and all the transportation issues here in New York.
It's been rough in New York.
How's Boston been handling it? How's the trek out to Foxborough been for folks?
The first trips, when I was talking to people who went out to Gillette Stadium, aka Boston Stadium, yes. There were really long lines, but I mean, those lines were there, to make sure the flow of people, they wouldn't get like bottlenecked. But from what I've heard, like it got better as like as the games went on. So, I think the first ones people had to wait a long time. But, other than that, there weren't any major issues that I've heard of.